So today, we're diving into how a really simple, but honestly pretty profound Montessori philosophy can completely transform those everyday parenting struggles. You know the ones. We're going to turn them into moments of real connection and learning. We're talking about the art of grace and courtesy.
Does this sound familiar to you? What do you say? And what's the magic word? If you feel like a broken record, constantly reminding your child to use basic manners, I promise you, you are not alone. But here's a thought. What if the problem isn't your child? What if it's the method we're all using?
All right, let's just shift our whole perspective on this, because the real goal here isn't just about getting our kids to spit out the right words on command. Nope, it's actually something much, much deeper.
Okay, so here's the fundamental issue with how we usually do things. We tend to jump in and correct the words after a social mistake has already happened. But that constant correction doesn't actually give kids the confidence or, more importantly, the tools they need for the next time. We're basically just editing their mistakes instead of actually teaching them how to write the sentence themselves.
So, if correcting them after the fact is not the answer, then what is? Well, this brings us to the solution. Montessori education has this beautiful concept that addresses this exact problem, and it's called grace and courtesy.
So what on earth is it? Well, grace and courtesy isn't just a list of rules like say this, don't do that. Think of it more like a practical, hands-on toolkit for social life. These are very specific, brief, and really actionable little lessons that give children the actual scripts and even the physical movements to navigate their world with grace.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of it all. This isn't about creating little robots who are just perfectly polite all the time. It's about empowerment. It's about giving our kids the confidence to jump into family life, into their friendships, into their community, and to do it with joy because they actually know how.
Okay, so how does this actually work in the real world, right? Let's take one of the biggest challenges for any parent, the constant interruptions when you're just trying to have a 5-minute conversation. Montessori has this specific, and I mean elegant, lesson for this exact thing.
All right, let's break this down. This is the interrupting lesson. And the genius part is that it's almost entirely nonverbal. So, step 1, the child comes up and just gently places their hand on your wrist. That's it. No yelling, mom, dad, mom from across the room. Step 2, you acknowledge them by simply placing your hand over theirs. This is a silent contract. It says, I see you and I promise I will get to you. Step 3, the child waits. And finally, step 4, at the very first natural pause, you turn and give them your 100% undivided attention. It's like a beautiful, respectful dance.
Now, this is the crucial part, so listen up. You absolutely cannot teach this skill in the heat of the moment when you're already annoyed. It just won't work. You have to teach it proactively. You role play it when everyone is calm and happy. You can even turn it into a fun little game, and you practice it until that gentle touch on the wrist becomes a totally automatic, ingrained habit for both of you.
Now, lessons like these don't just happen in a vacuum. They are supported by the entire world you build around your child. In Montessori, this concept is called the prepared environment, and it's this idea that your home itself becomes a teacher.
And this table just illustrates it so brilliantly. When every toy and every material has a specific home on a neat, uncluttered shelf, it teaches order without you saying a word. When children get to use beautiful, real items like a tiny glass pitcher or a real ceramic bowl, it sends a powerful message that their work is important and it's worthy of care. And of course, when their tables, their chairs, their tools are all their size, they don't have to constantly ask for help. It fosters genuine independence. You see, the environment itself is teaching respect and responsibility, and it's doing it silently.
But here's the thing. There is one element of this whole environment that is more powerful than any beautiful wooden toy or any child-sized broom, and that is the adult. The real secret, the absolute key to making any of this work is becoming the prepared adult.
And what's so fascinating here is how tiny little shifts in our own language can change absolutely everything. So instead of that empty, good job, which honestly just teaches a kid to look for your approval, you can make a specific observation. Wow, I noticed how carefully you worked to pour that water. That builds their own internal sense of accomplishment. Instead of a vague and frankly useless, be careful, we empower them. We can say, that glass is fragile. Can you show me how you'll carry it with 2 hands? We're handing over the responsibility, not just barking a command.
So this is the real takeaway. Our actions, they are the curriculum. The way we handle spilling something in the kitchen, the way we speak to our partner, the patient way we wait for our turn to speak, that is the stuff our children are soaking up.
The adult in the room doesn't just teach the lesson, the adult is the lesson. And to close this out, I'm just going to leave you with this really powerful and kind of humbling thought from Maria Montessori herself. She said, "We ourselves, adults, are the greatest obstacle to the child. We must learn to step aside." So what if our main job isn't to constantly direct and correct and manage them? What if instead our job is to carefully prepare a beautiful world where they can thrive, and then have the wisdom to just get out of their way?